Cancer, welcome to your weekly reading. Let's get started and see what messages we have for Cancer, Sun, Moon, and Rising positions for the week ahead, keeping in mind that these are general readings and may not resonate for everyone. So make sure to check out your other placements. And if you're interested in receiving a personal reading, have a look at the description below because I am offering a promotion for the month of May. And it's a good time to get a reading if you've been wanting one. All right, my friends, let's get started. What is the current energy around Cancer for the week ahead? Okay, Five of Pentacles in reverse. This is one of the cards I actually really like to see in the reverse because it sort of implies that you're turning your losses around. When we see it in the upright, you're sort of smack in the middle of those losses. But when we see it in the reverse, it really signals a turning around point where you're turning your losses around and you're starting to see a light at the end of the tunnel where there's more balance and there's more support and there's more receptivity, like a two-way street where you're open and receptive and you're also able to offer others something as well. And so it feels like you're at a place here where you're not out in the cold anymore. You know, it's interesting. Let's see what could be the obstacle to that. Oh gosh, so many cards just flew everywhere. Let me reshuffle those. Let's see if any of those cards come back. Okay, what is the obstacle to this for Cancer? What could be holding this back? The Wheel of Fortune. Okay, interesting. So the Wheel of Fortune coming through in the reverse says to me that the obstacle to you turning your losses around could lie in your beliefs about sort of your luck or your fortune or a narrative you're holding about whether or not things are going to work out. And sort of seeing that Wheel of Fortune in reverse makes me think that you're at a turning point because that's card 10. And it's sort of, a moment here where things could go one way or the other. And it feels to me like right now you're sort of focused on sort of seeing things as a setback. And you might be seeing things as a setback because you've experienced some setbacks. The ups and downs of life are a constant. Things are always up and down, right? And nothing is ever completely stable in one direction. And it feels to me like you may have sort of this idea that you've got bad karma or you've got misfortune all over you. You know what I mean? And it kind of feels like there's a part of you that just needs to release some control over a situation because it may be outside of your control. And it's also bringing up to mind this idea of what is within your control and what are you doing with the things that are in your control? Are you asking for help? Are you asking for support? Are you open to receiving help and support? Are you open to maybe seeing things in a different way and sort of having this optimism that says things are turning around for me and things are always working out for me. Things are always working out for my highest good. It's interesting to see this combination because it almost makes me feel like you're feeling like nothing ever works out for you. And there's this defeating sort of dialogue, Five of Swords, on the bottom of the deck. So you might be sort of carrying around this very defeated sort of narrative that says nothing ever works for me and nothing ever will. And it feels like that could be blocking you from turning things around for yourself. I feel like you have the potential to turn things around, but it has to sort of start within when I see that Wheel of Fortune, by releasing control over things we don't have control over and having a look at the things that we do have control over to see if we're helping ourselves or if we're hurting ourselves. Like, are we keeping ourselves in a certain state, or are we taking the steps that we can to shift things into a different state? It's interesting. Let's see what's top of mind here for Cancer. The Six of Wands in reverse, Cancer. So that's interesting. That makes me feel like you're focused a little bit here on things not being successful. It's very interesting because you're reading last week felt really optimistic to me. I'll have to go back and maybe revisit it, but it feels like things have taken a turn here where internally you're like, nothing ever works out for me. I'm not going to be successful. And I'm not sure what is causing that to come through right now. It feels like you're on the cusp of something actually shifting in your favor, but you're not seeing it. You're not seeing it. You're focused on the setbacks. You're focused on the obstacles. You're focused on things not working out right now, Cancer, and it's not serving you to focus on that. Let's see what's driving all of this. Oh my goodness, look at this. The Tower and the Ten of Cups in reverse. So things are sort of crumbling around you right now, Cancer. From what I can see, things are crumbling around you, but they need to. There's something here that needs to go when we see the Tower here. But seeing it come through with the Ten of Cups in reverse tells me that this is not something that you're finding very fulfilling. I feel like seeing the Ten of Cups in reverse with the Tower is a signal that right now, emotionally, you're in a place that feels like there's a lot of struggle and a lot of unrealistic expectations, or this feeling of not being worthy or deserving of love and happiness, which could explain why that Wheel of Fortune is in reverse and why the Tower's here to sort of shatter those beliefs around you so that you can start to turn things around for yourself. But as long as you're focused on things not being successful and this idea of not feeling worthy of love, or constantly feeling delays when it comes to love, and then sort of being like, well, it's because I have bad karma, or because misfortune follows me wherever I go and I'm a very unlucky person. And it's interesting, it almost feels like that kind of talk isn't serving you, and it's not helping you to focus your energy on something working out. It's in fact doing the opposite. And so it's really, really interesting to see these cards, because it feels like the Tower could be here to bring in some unexpected change and kind of pull the rug out from under you so that you can change your beliefs. The Tower can really challenge our beliefs that we're holding. And right now it feels like you're holding a very pessimistic belief system that says nothing works out for me and I'm always disappointed in the end, especially in love. And it's interesting because it feels like this is going to bring that awareness to the surface, and then you're going to have to sort of do something with it, either shift it and see how things change, or stay focused that way and continually experience things sort of feeling unexpectedly negative all the time, or maybe expectedly negative. It's interesting because it's almost like you're expecting things not to work out, and by using the law of expectancy says whatever we expect will likely show up. And so it's almost like you really need to change your beliefs here. I think it needs to start there, because there is the potential for you to turn things around. Look at that, 10 of Pentacles on the bottom of the deck, also in reverse. So you may be feeling like there's also financial hardship around you right now, and family hardship and connection hardship, like where relationships are a struggle, really meaningful relationships, like your closest family relationships, or a relationship with a partner feels really, really out of balance and not harmonious right now. When I see these two tens with the Tower and the Wheel of Fortune, like it almost feels like a self-fulfilling prophecy that says nothing ever works out for me. And then it's being fulfilled, and then it continues, right? It becomes sort of a self-fulfilling prophecy where it sort of fulfills itself over and over again as long as we maintain that belief. Let's see what the past influences are here for Cancer. 3 cards. the Fool, the Star, and the Queen of Cups. Star and Queen of Cups coming out in the reverse. So that tells me that in the past, there may have been a situation that you took a chance on, and it ended up disappointing you emotionally. And that needed some healing. And I feel like it needed healing around you trusting yourself and feeling like that you can shift things into a more healing and sort of believing in yourself place again. So seeing the Star in reverse tells me that you may have lost faith in yourself, or you may have lost faith in something that you were dreaming of bringing into life, like bringing something into fruition, into manifestation, and something happened and it didn't work out. It left you feeling really out of sorts and unfocused, uncertain, unsure of what to do next and how to feel about this whole thing. But it's interesting. It almost feels like that could be why you're feeling like nothing ever works out for me, because in the past you've gone through things that haven't worked out and it's been quite devastating. Let's see here what's coming up in the upcoming energy for Cancer. The Magician, upright. This is great. This is really good, because that tells me that in the upcoming future, whenever that is for you, could be right away, could be as soon as you listening to this reading, you start to remember that whatever you hold true in your beliefs and in your subconscious will be reflected back at you. And so it's almost like when you start to remember that, you're like, oh yeah, I guess I have been focusing too much on losses and hurt and moments where I have felt sort of defeated by something and completely unfulfilled and not worthy of love and success and not worthy of stability and finances, even like that. You may have felt that lack. And so seeing the Magician in the upcoming future is a really positive sign, Gemini, because or not Gemini, I just read for Gemini, Cancer, because that tells me that you're going to start to remember just how much power you have over what happens in this situation, as far as how your beliefs create sort of evidence in your reality to prove you right. Your mind is such a good truth detector. You know what I mean? Whatever you tell your mind is the truth, your mind will go and find evidence for that, no matter what it is. And so I feel like you're going to step into that maybe again, because I feel like you're no stranger to this information. And perhaps you're going to step into that again and take a chance here, knowing and trusting that things do work out. You know, it's not always going to be things never work out for me, unless that's the narrative you keep hanging on to. Then you're going to find evidence for that. Bottom of the deck is the Ace of Cups in reverse, and that really makes me feel like, you know, as cliched as it may sound, we need some self-love here. We need some self-acceptance. We need self-forgiveness. We need to release ourselves from judgment and start to love ourselves unconditionally here. Even if it involves sort of forgiving yourself for something that happened in the past where you haven't quite let go of it. You might be holding on to that moment and saying, it's going to happen again. It's going to happen again. I'll do it again. What if I do it again? And it's sort of like you have to sort of trust yourself a little bit here and regain that faith in yourself through unconditional love, and to give it to yourself, to nurture yourself again. Let's see, how does Cancer see themselves right now? Judgment in reverse. So there's some things that you may be denying to yourself. You know, just looking at the cards objectively here, Judgment in reverse says that I don't want to know all of this. I don't want to face the truth. I don't want to awaken to anything right now. And it's interesting because you've got card 20 and card 1, and it feels to me like you're moving from a time of sort of not really being honest with yourself about what you know to be the truth. And you're sitting in self-doubt. You may be hiding behind a mask. You may be not wanting to let go of an old story. You may be denying yourself something because you don't feel worthy of it when we see Judgment. And so seeing that in reverse with the Magician in the upcoming future tells me you're going to turn this around. And you're going to turn it around by loving yourself, Cancer. There's no other way through this. You must sort of stop denying that to yourself. And look, there's the Hierophant, which is also a card of sort of enlightenment and understanding that bridge between your human self and your higher self. And that there's this sort of divine worthiness that you have just by being here. And this tells me that you're really going to start to remember who you are, you know, and that's going to be a big shift for you here, Cancer. Let's see what your outward expression is right now. Okay, that's too many cards. Sorry, that was like a whole chunk of cards. Let's reshuffle. We'll see if one or two of them want to come back. How does Cancer, what is their outward appearance? Oh my God, did you see that? Flew right onto the floor. The World. So yeah, your outward appearance is that it's time to bring closure to something, and that this is complete. This is complete. Whatever happened in the past is complete. You must just learn the lesson from it and then start to love yourself again. I almost feel like saying stop beating yourself up. Stop beating yourself up, Cancer. I feel like you might be really hard on yourself right now, and the outward experience, or the outward reflection, excuse me, of you right now is an experience of completion. So it's almost like when you're interacting with the outside world, you're sort of getting this reflection back at you that says, this doesn't serve me anymore. I've got to move past this. I have to let this go and start a new chapter. And that's where the Magician comes in. Card 1. This is card 21. That's the end. You've got 2021. You're really moving through this. You are moving through this, Cancer. And just because something really let you down in the past and left you feeling sort of out of sorts and unloved and not worthy of love and disappointed, and it left you with so much self-doubt, you know what I mean? That's over now. That's over now. And it's time to just sort of absorb whatever lesson this teaching moment had for you and then let it go. You don't have to carry it around forever. And I think sometimes we do that as a form of punishment, that we're punishing ourselves for even being involved in something in the first place. And I think seeing Judgment here is saying, let go of it. Release yourself from this past moment and start a new narrative. It starts today, right? That new narrative starts right now. Let's see about hopes and fears when it comes to this. Yeah, 8 of Cups, letting go. That is the fear and the hope. The hope is that you can walk away from something that was very emotionally charged but no longer serves you, and the fear is that you won't be able to. And I'm here to tell you, I believe in you, and I believe you can walk away from anything you put your mind to, that you decide is done. You can, because there are moments where we can look to others for inspiration, and people have put their past in the past and left it there, and so can you. And I feel like even though this situation had a lot of emotional attachment for you, seeing the 8 of Cups there tells me that you, on some level, want to let this go. And you may not be sure of how to let it go. So maybe when we saw that Hierophant sitting on the bottom of the deck, that was a message for you to maybe seek out some guidance and to seek out someone who can sort of assist you with the process of shifting your beliefs and letting go of past trauma. That might be an actual thing that would help you. And it could help you really face this. Instead of wearing a mask and denying to yourself that it's even still in your energy, it might be helpful to chat with someone about it, or to find sort of a support that will help you release this step by step, you know? Very interesting. Let's see what the final outcome of this is for Cancer. It's the King of Cups in reverse. I just want to take another card with that. I have another card or two. Thank you. Okay, we're seeing here the 4 of Swords. So that is a card of recovery. That is a card of feeling like you can put your mind at rest and sort of as you reflect on something, you can let it go, right? Seeing that coming through with the King of Cups in reverse says to me that you're still really involved in the emotional drama of this. You're still in the thick of it, you know? When the King of Cups is in reverse, and notice that you also have the Queen of Cups in reverse, you're feeling very emotional about something and you're not able to sort of see clearly because the emotions of it are too strong. And that's why the Tower is there. The Tower's there to help clear this for you, to help send it all out to the sea. But, you know, if you use that as a metaphor right now, seeing the Queen and the King of Cups tells me that you're drowning. You're drowning in a sea of emotion from the past. And the Tower falling into the sea could sort of help you see a light where you're sort of like, I just have to move towards that shoreline and everything will be okay. I just got to get to that shoreline. I've got to move away from this drama that is still consuming me. And I got to get into that life raft of the Judgment card and get to the shoreline. I've got to get to that shoreline so I can really recover. This is about recovery. The bottom of the deck is the Sun, and that's what's awaiting you after this storm. The sun coming out to show you a new day. Wow, what a really, really interesting reading. And I feel like there is that light at the end of the tunnel when we see the sun. Such a positive card, such a card of optimism and seeing potential in growing forward and growing into a new direction and leaving the past in the past. The past has just been the fertilizer for the growth that we see in the sun here. And so I feel like there's an optimistic ending to this reading when we see the sun that says there will be sun after this storm passes, but you have to be willing to sort of get in the boat and get to that shoreline and leave that past drama where it wants to be, you know, deep, deep in the middle of the ocean, where this tower is going to float out there and you'll be on a new shoreline and there'll be sun there and there will be reversal of this feeling that nothing ever works out for you. You've got the Magician and the Sun and you've got a lot of positive energy moving forward. It's just getting there is going to require letting go of this moment from the past, albeit painful. You know, it's got to go. It's got to go because it's leaving you feeling like you're not worthy of anything better, and you are. So let's see, what is the final guidance here to close this reading for Cancer? 2 cards. Look at that. Unfinished Symphony and Orphaned. So there you are feeling unworthy of love. There you are feeling rejected and cast aside and full of feelings of loss and unworthiness, especially when it comes to feeling belonging and love. And there's the Unfinished Symphony, which is like that World card, which says it's time to bring completion to this narrative that says I'm not worthy and I don't deserve love because of whatever happened here. This is very interesting to see because it's very confirming to what this reading has been saying, is that it's time for you to release this past moment. You don't have to hang on to it and use it as a basis for what is awaiting you tomorrow or later today. There's a shift here that has to happen and recovery. And it starts with self-love, forgiveness, acceptance, and letting go of this narrative that says I don't deserve and I'm not worthy. I'm not enough. There isn't enough. I'm not enough. It'll happen again. You know what I mean? And to release that, to take the mask off and to release yourself from this narrative by letting it come into closure, bringing completion to this unfinished symphony, letting this World card wrap itself around itself to bring closure to something, you know? Wow, really interesting. I'm going to leave it at that. Thank you so much for joining me for this reading, Cancer. I hope it's been helpful. I look forward to reading for you again soon, my friends, and I'm sending you so much love and light. Take care.